A young woman was walking home after a late shift when she noticed a man walking behind her. At first, she ignored him. She crossed the street. He crossed too. She walked faster. So did he. Her heart began racing. She suddenly ran into a small convenience store and looked through the window. The man stopped outside. He didn't enter. He simply stood there, watching. A few minutes later, she finally left through the back door. She thought she had escaped. But when she reached her street, she saw him standing beside her front gate. He smiled and said, "You walk too fast." A man received a message from an unknown number. "I can see you." He looked around his apartment. "Nothing." He replied, "Who is this?" Another message appeared. "Look upstairs." He slowly looked toward the staircase. Nothing was there. Then another message arrived. "I'm already inside." His phone suddenly lost signal. He grabbed a flashlight and searched every room. The house was empty. Relieved, he returned to the living room. Then he noticed something on his phone. A new photo had appeared. It was a picture of him, taken from behind. One night, a man was driving home on an empty road. He noticed a black car following him. He turned left. The car followed. He turned right, still behind him. He sped up. So did the car. Terrified, he called the police and continued driving. Then the black car suddenly disappeared. He sighed with relief. A few minutes later, he arrived home. As he walked toward his front door, his phone rang. It was the police. "Sir, where are you?" "I'm home." There was silence. Then the officer said, "That's impossible. We've been following that black car for 20 minutes. We found it abandoned." A woman was home alone when she heard a noise downstairs. She assumed it was the wind. Then she heard a cupboard close. She froze. She quietly grabbed her phone and locked herself in the bedroom. Suddenly, her phone received a notification. It was from her home security camera. She opened the app. The camera showed her living room. Everything looked normal. Then she noticed something. A man was standing behind the couch. He was looking directly at the camera. The woman covered her mouth to stop herself from screaming. Then another notification appeared. Front door unlocked. She looked at her bedroom door. The handle slowly began turning. A taxi driver picked up a passenger late at night. The man sat in the back and gave him an address. The driver noticed something strange. The passenger never spoke. He simply stared out the window. After several minutes, the driver asked, "Are you okay?" No response. When they reached the destination, the driver stopped. He looked into the rear-view mirror. The back seat was empty. Confused, he turned around. There was no one there. Then his phone rang. The police were calling. They asked him where he was. When he told them the location, the officer went silent. Then he said, "Sir, that's the address of a man who was murdered there last night." The driver slowly looked into the rear-view mirror again. The passenger was sitting there, smiling. Every night, a woman noticed a man standing at the window of the apartment across from hers. He always stood in the same place, always watching her building. One night she waved. The man waved back. She closed her curtains and went to bed. The next morning she noticed something strange. Her bedroom window had been left open. She was certain she had locked it. Then she saw a small piece of paper on her pillow. It said, "You waved first." A young woman took a shortcut through a quiet alley after work. Halfway through, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around. A man was following her. She started walking faster. So did he. She ran. The footsteps became louder. She finally reached a busy street and turned around. The man was gone. Relieved, she entered a nearby cafe. She sat down and looked through the window. Her blood ran cold. The same man was sitting inside the cafe, right behind her. A man started receiving phone calls from an unknown number every night at exactly 2:13 a.m. He never answered. One night, curiosity got the better of him. He picked up. There was silence. Then he heard his own voice whisper, "Don't open the door." He froze. At that exact moment, someone knocked. 3 slow knocks. He looked through the peephole. Nobody was there. His phone suddenly whispered again, "Don't look through the window." He slowly turned toward the window. A face was staring back at him. A group of friends went camping in a remote forest. One night, one of them disappeared. They searched everywhere but couldn't find him. Hours later, they heard his voice calling from deep inside the forest. "Guys, I'm over here." They followed the voice. Then they heard it again. This time from behind them. "Guys, I'm over here." They froze. The voice continued coming from different directions. Finally, one of them whispered, "He's not calling us." The others looked at him. "Then who is?" A woman was alone at home when someone knocked on her door. She looked through the peephole. A man stood outside. He said, "Sorry, wrong house." He walked away. A few minutes later, another knock. It was the same man. He smiled and said, "I forgot something." The woman didn't open the door. She watched him walk away again. Then she received a message from her neighbor. "Don't open your door. I saw that man trying to break into your house earlier." She looked through the peephole again. The man was standing there. But this time, he was looking directly through the peephole. A man boarded the last train home. Only one other passenger was inside, a woman sitting at the far end. As the train moved through the darkness, the lights suddenly flickered. When they came back on, the woman was sitting much closer. The man moved to another seat. A few minutes later, the lights flickered again. When they returned, she was sitting directly across from him. She smiled. Then she whispered, "Why do you keep moving away from me?" The man looked around. The train was completely empty.